In 2450 BCE in Mesopotamia, a debt crisis occurred. The real reason behind history's first recorded war and a systematic cycle of collapse that modern economics never tells you about? Welcome to our video, where you'll learn all this. Because the economic system that tells you today, pay your debts, be responsible, completely ignores a vital solution that ancient kings applied once every generation. Right now, imagine yourself in 2450 BCE, in the fertile plains of Mesopotamia. Two city-states, Lagash and Umma, are embroiled in a centuries-long conflict. The official story tells you it's about land and water disputes, but the truth is much darker. This is history's first recorded extreme debt crisis. The inscriptions carved on King Enmetena of Lagash's clay cone tell this. The neighboring city Umma's king has accumulated a debt of 500 billion tons of barley to Lagash. Yes, you heard right, 500 billion tons. This debt becomes unpayable, and what happens? War breaks out. Enmetena gathers his army, invades Umma, and with the spoils of victory, wipes out the debts on his own people. Here's the oldest written record in history. Debt leads to war. War leads to debt forgiveness. Now think about it. You live in a world today where your credit card debt is called your personal responsibility. But even 4,500 years ago, rulers in Mesopotamia knew that uncontrolled debt is the deadliest poison that collapses societies. And if you don't periodically cleanse this poison, you'll either collapse from within or be destroyed from without. At the end of the video, I'll give concrete suggestions on preparations you need to make to protect yourself when such times come. Please continue watching patiently. Modern economic teachings tell you a classic story. Money arose from the inadequacies of barter economies. Farmers had trouble exchanging wheat for chickens, so they started using gold and silver. How logical, right? The problem is, this story is largely a myth. Archaeological evidence and clay tablets show us a completely different truth. Thousands of years before the invention of money, there was already a highly advanced credit and debt system in Mesopotamia. People were lending to each other, recording these debts on clay tablets, setting interest rates, and making repayment plans. What we now call money as a unit of price hadn't even been invented yet. So the reality is this: societies didn't create debt systems because they needed money. On the contrary, the already existing debt and credit relationships eventually made the invention of money necessary, which is why money is in our lives today. Imagine a farmer borrows from his neighbor to buy seeds, promises to pay after harvest. A craftsman takes credit for raw materials, says he'll sell his products and repay. All this is recorded in writing, and over the years it grows with interest. Societies grow, cities are built, temples rise, but debts rise along with them. And that's exactly where problems erupt. We can compare this situation to this. Think of a theater stage you've gone to. When the curtain opens, there's a magnificent set. Costumes are superb, actors are perfect. The audience applauds enthusiastically. Everything looks great. But when you go backstage, what do you see? Ropes are rotten, set pieces are held together with glue, actors are exhausted, the director is in panic because there's no money for the next scene. Modern economics presents you with that magnificent show in front of the stage. Growth, innovation, technology, prosperity. But no one takes you backstage to show the reality. Millions of people are crushed under debt. Families are breaking apart. The young generation is plunged into despair, and the show could collapse at any moment. The story of Lagash and Umma shows us exactly this backstage. According to the records on Enmetena's clay cone, the issue wasn't just land or water, it was Umma's unpayable debt accumulated to Lagash. King Eannatum, Enmetena's uncle, had made an agreement with Umma years earlier. Umma could use the fertile Guedena plain on Lagash's border, but in return, it had to pay a rent calculated in barley each year. At first, the agreement worked, but then years of bad harvests came due to drought. Umma couldn't pay its debt, started accumulating debt, interest accrued, and not long after, in just a few generations, the debt reached astronomical figures, 500 billion tons of barley. This amount was completely impossible to pay at that time. What did Umma's King Urluma do? Did he pay his debts, you think? Of course not. It didn't happen as you might guess. Instead of paying the debts, he destroyed Lagash's water canals, burned the border monuments, attacked the temples. In other words, the process that started with a debt crisis turned into a full-blown war. Enanatum, Enmetena's father, went to war against Umma, but was severely wounded during the war, perhaps even died. Thus, Enmetena, having lost his father at a young age, ascended the throne and had to finish the war his uncle had left. The war, as depicted on the vulture stele, was very bloody. The Lagash army advanced in dense phalanx formation. The Umma army was routed. Urlumma was killed in his own city by his own people. Young King Enmetena won, but not just a military victory. Along with it, he brought an unprecedented economic solution in history. He forgave Umma's debt to Lagash, and moreover, wiped out his own people's debts. Because he knew that even if the war was over, if the debt burden continued, society would collapse from within. He rebuilt the water canal that Urlumma had destroyed, redrew the borders, but most importantly, broke the debt cycle. Enmetena's move was a turning point in Mesopotamian history because, for the first time in written records, we see how a king systematically reset both external and internal debts. This wasn't just a kindness. It was a rational measure for society's survival, an economic necessity. If you watched our previous video on Urukagina's reforms, you'll remember he did something similar. He lifted the debt burden on the people, freed those who had fallen into slavery. But Urukagina was later destroyed by a neighboring city because he was militarily weak. Enmetena, on the other hand, used both his military power and applied debt forgiveness, and succeeded. Now let's connect this to the economic system imposed on you today, because this isn't just an ancient story. It's directly related to your life today. Modern economics presents debt to you as a moral issue. If you have debt, it means you've spent irresponsibly. If you can't pay your credit card, they say you're lacking financial discipline and vilify you. But the reality is not like that at all. The system is designed to indebted you. Want to get a university education? Take a student loan you'll pay for decades. Want to own a home? Take a 30-year mortgage. What if you get sick? Borrow for healthcare costs, car, vacation, wedding, funeral. You borrow for everything. The system constantly gives you the message, you can't live without borrowing, then blames you when you can't pay your debt. Enmetena and before him Urukagina did the exact opposite. They saw debt accumulation as a flaw in the system, periodically reset it. Today, governments spend trillions to bail out banks from debt quagmires, but tell ordinary citizens, pay your own debt. In the 2008 global financial crisis, big banks were saved from bankruptcy, but millions of families lost their homes. Why? Because the modern system has forgotten that 4,500-year-old wisdom from Mesopotamia. Debt burden collapses society from within, and if debt forgiveness isn't done, either internal conflicts or external wars are inevitable. Enmetena's war with Umma shows exactly this. Uncontrolled debt leads to war. Today, interstate debt crises in the world carry similar dynamics. Greece's debt to the European Union, Latin American countries' debts to the IMF, Africa's debt quagmire, all have become unpayable, like Umma's debt to Lagash, and lead to social upheavals. And now, while you're watching this video, I want to give you the most valuable lesson you should take away. Financial literacy. Learning this historical knowledge can keep you on your feet in an economic collapse, help you understand how the system exploits you, because financial literacy isn't just learning how to invest. It's seeing who makes money off you, which game is rigged against you. If you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, you can continue learning such economic truths constantly. Please don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments, because this knowledge might keep you and those around you standing in the next crisis. Now let us take a deeper look at the details of Enmetena's debt forgiveness practice, because what we see there holds clues for solving today's economic crises. Enmetena didn't just forgive Umma's debt, he also wiped out his own people as debts. Farmers' seed debts, craftsmen's raw material debts, families' temple debts, all reset with a single edict. Why did he do this? Because Enmetena knew that a people just emerging from war, if continued to be crushed under debt burden, couldn't produce agricultural goods, couldn't trade, couldn't pay taxes, and society would be doomed to collapse. Debt forgiveness wasn't just charity. It was a strategy to revive societal productivity, and it worked. According to historical records, after Enmetena's reforms, economic vitality returned to Lagash. Farmers returned to their fields, production increased, tax revenues rose, the city was rebuilt. Meanwhile, Enmetena didn't just do debt forgiveness, he also set limits for lenders. Interest rates were regulated, the maximum amount a creditor could demand from a debtor was determined, it was guaranteed that the debtor's basic means of livelihood couldn't be seized. Just like in the Code of Hammurabi. If you're curious about the Code of Hammurabi, you can watch that from the cards too. Today, credit card interest rates can be 20%, 30%, even 40%. Banks can foreclose on your home, deduct from your salary, but even 4,500 years ago in Mesopotamia, there were more humane rules to protect debtors. Doesn't this tell you something? Doesn't the system that modern capitalism sells to you as freedom actually leave you more vulnerable than a Mesopotamian farmer in ancient times? However, there's an important point here. Enmetena's reforms greatly disturbed the wealthy lenders and merchants, because they started losing their assets with debt forgiveness. Here's where a massive conflict begins: the people's interest or the elite class's interest. Enmetena chose his people and achieved social stability. But over time, this balance broke. In later generations, powerful merchant classes began pressuring kings. Debt forgiveness became rarer, eventually stopped altogether, and Mesopotamian city-states began to collapse. Lagash's last king Urukagina, whom we detailed his reforms in our previous video, tried to do debt forgiveness but was militarily weak and was destroyed by neighboring Umma. So history shows us that debt forgiveness alone isn't enough. Social and military strength is also necessary. Maybe you're saying, okay, it was like that in ancient times, but today the situation is different. The economy is much more complex. Of course, you're right. Today it's exactly as you say, even more complex. But the basic dynamics haven't changed. Today too, debt grows with interest. Today too, people's incomes don't increase as fast as debt. Today too, millions are crushed under debt. In America, total student debt has exceeded $2 trillion. Credit card debts have passed $1 trillion. Mortgage debts are approaching $10 trillion, all growing with interest. The system sells these to you as growth, but the reality is, it's not the economy growing, it's the debt. It exploded in the 2008 crisis, in the 1999 crisis, in the 19th century panics. But the system makes the same mistake every time, tries to pay debt with more debt. Enmetena was smarter 4,500 years ago. He broke the debt cycle. In conclusion, now it's time to give you concrete suggestions. First, get financial education, but not just how do I invest, also seek answers to how does the system exploit me. Second, reduce your debt as much as possible, especially close high-interest debts, because interest is the strongest weapon working against you. Third, support debt forgiveness policies at the societal level, like student debt forgiveness, mortgage restructurings. Fourth, when managing your own budget, remember Enmetena's principle. Debt can't be sustained forever. At some point, it needs to be reset. Fifth, spread this knowledge because financial literacy is a societal power. The more people understand the system, the more resilient society becomes. The story I told you today isn't just history's first recorded war in Mesopotamia. It's the key to understanding today's economic reality. The modern financial system presents you with a magnificent stage show. Technology, innovation, growth. But backstage is rotten, ropes are breaking, and the show could collapse at any moment. 4,500 years ago, Enmetena disrupted the theater play, broke the debt cycle, saved society. Today, leaders are trying to continue the same show, and the system is collapsing. This video didn't just give you historical knowledge, it also gave you a survival weapon along with it. Enmetena's ancient wisdom still holds true. Debt collapses society, leads to wars, but an informed and organized society can overcome debt crises. Use this knowledge, share it, and please protect yourself, your family, your society against economic collapses. Because history repeats itself and the unprepared become prey to the system. These lessons from the depths of Mesopotamia can save your future. Learn, apply, spread, And remember, those who can't see backstage can't understand when the show collapses. See you in my next video.